Good morning. I want to welcome everyone to our Veterans Day program. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may now be seated. At this time, I'd like to welcome our special guests. Would our veterans please stand? Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you for your service to our country. We are joined today by the Florence City School Board, Brad Deathrow, the board president, Bill Galt, Vicki Kirkman, Laura Hardman, Bill Griffin, and Bill Jordan. Also, we have Assistant Superintendent Connie Wallace, Director of Data and Accountability Sherry Chase, and several of our city councilmen. Would the councilman please stand and be recognized? Thank you. And a very, very special welcome to Mr. Robert Franklin Branton Sr. and his family. What is Veterans Day? World War I officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919. However, fighting ceased 7 months earlier when an armistice or temporary cessation of hostilities between the Allied nations and Germany went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11th, 1918 is generally regarded as the end of the war to end all wars. In November 1919, President Wilson proclaimed November 11th as the first commemoration of Armistice Day with the following words: "To us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing from which it has freed us and because of the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of the nations." The original concept for the celebration was for a day observed with parades and public meetings and a brief suspension of business beginning at 11 a.m. The United States Congress officially recognized the end of World War I when it passed a concurrent resolution on June 4th, 1926, with these words: "Whereas the 11th of November, 1918 marked the cessation of the most destructive, sanguinary, and far-reaching war in human annals and the resumption by the people of the United States of peaceful relations with other nations, which we hope may never again be severed. And whereas it is fitting that the recurring anniversary of the state should be commemorated with thanksgiving and prayer and exercises designed to perpetuate peace through goodwill and mutual understanding between nations. And whereas the legislatures of 27 of our states have already declared November 11th to be a legal holiday, therefore it be resolved by the Senate, the House of Representatives concurring, that the President of the United States is requested to issue a proclamation calling upon the officials to display the flag of the United States on all government buildings on November 11th, and inviting the people of the United States to observe the day in schools and churches or other suitable places with appropriate ceremonies of friendly relations with all other people." We are gathered here today to honor those who have served this great nation. At this time, Ms. Heiss and Ms. Chase have a special presentation.
Good morning. I was in my office several weeks ago and answered the telephone, was lucky enough to be the one to receive the telephone call from Mr. Branton, and he was inquiring about a Coffee High School diploma from 1953. 53, that was before I was born, so it's a very long time ago. What he could do to obtain his high school diploma. Mr. Branton was a senior in 53, but he left Coffee 1 credit short of graduation. I found out just this morning that he was 1 credit short because he spent a week in Mr. Tom Brawley's office for a minor disciplinary infraction. So he missed some of his physics work. And even though he made an 86 on the final exam in physics, that wasn't quite enough for him to pass the class. So he left high school without a diploma. And when Mr. Branton talked with me, it touched my heart because he said that was a hole in his life that had always bothered him, that he had never obtained his high school diploma. So seniors, I hope you think about that too, how important that is, maybe not today, but it will be in the future for sure. When Mr. Branton left Coffee High School, he spent some time at Florence State College, now UNA, and then I found today he enlisted in the Navy, is that right? Before he went into the Army. But he did serve in the Army until 1977. He was active duty. He served in the Vietnam War, and when he retired, after his retirement from the military, he graduated in 1979 from Troy State University, and then he obtained an associate's degree in computer science from Enterprise Junior College. So he's definitely well educated despite not having had the diploma. When he contacted us, I really didn't know the status of getting a diploma for someone, especially from that far back, but I went immediately to Dr. Womack's office, the superintendent's office, and she said, you know, I don't know. She said, there's something about being able to give him a diploma if he went immediately into the war, but let's see if he left school to go into the war. But she called a contact at the State Department, and he said, oh yes, that's been amended, so any veteran who served in, I believe, either of the 2 world wars, Vietnam or Korea, can be awarded a high school diploma. So we made the determination to put the process into place to get him a diploma, and I called Mr. Branton back, and it's been my pleasure to talk with him several times over the course of the last few weeks. I got a copy of a diploma to Mr. Bruce, and he and his class worked very hard to create an almost exact replica of a diploma from 1953. So we are just absolutely delighted to be able to do this, and to be able to honor him on Veterans Day is special to all of us. And we thank Ms. Heiss for being able to set this up so that we could present him with his Coffee High School diploma, class of 1953, this morning.
Mr. Branton, this is an absolute honor for me. Robert Franklin Branton, by the power given to me by the Florence City Board of Education and the state of Alabama, I now declare you a graduate of Florence City Schools.
Praise the Lord. You guys and gals, don't wait as long as I did. I'm 80 years old, but I finished everything I set out to do. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Major Jonathan C. Stewart, retired United States Army. He has 20 years of combined service in the Alabama National Guard, Active Army, and Reserves. He received his commission from the University of North Alabama ROTC program in 1998. His career included serving in Germany, Fort Rucker, Alabama, Fort Wainwright, Alaska, Korea, Fort Carson, Colorado, Fort Lee, Virginia, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, Fallujah, and Baghdad, Iraq. Major Stewart concluded his military service as an ROTC instructor at the University of North Alabama. Major Stewart's awards and decorations include Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal, and the Iraq Campaign Medal. He is married to Amanda Stewart, and they have 2 daughters, Abby and Bella Stewart. Ladies and gentlemen, Major Stewart.
Good morning. I'm not used to speaking behind a microphone. My voice tends to carry, so if I get too loud, you guys can wave me down. I'll try to keep it down. Or I can come out here. Can you hear me in the back? Ugh. All right. I'm going to walk around then, because I don't like being behind a podium. All right, here's the thing. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me here today to be a part of this program. It means a great deal to myself, to the generations of soldiers who have fought before me. I'm going to talk a little bit about a buddy of mine that served this nation and paid the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. So we can sit here today and celebrate that, okay? First and foremost, by show of hands, how many of you have a parent, a sibling, aunt, uncle, friend that serves in the military or have served in the military? Raise your hands. Y'all look around you, all right? This is what it takes. 1 percentile in our nation serves in the military, okay? 1 percentile. That's something special. For those of you who raised your hands, okay, what ends up happening is myself, my buddies, we get recognized. We get the pat on the back, right? Because we're in the uniform. We deployed. My wife, my children, they served as well. When I deployed to Iraq in 2006, my youngest daughter was born 3 days before I left. All right? My wife had a 3.5-year-old and a brand new baby to take care of while I was gone for a year and a half. I always joked, really wasn't a joke. I always told her that she had the tough job. My job was easy. I just had to go, get shot at, get RPG, get mortared. That, to me, that was easy. She had to stay home and take care of the kids. She had to learn how to pay all the bills because I was doing all that. She had to do all that. She had to sit at home and worry about what was happening over there because I couldn't talk to her for, weeks on end. So for those of you that have family members, thank you. Thank you for serving alongside your relative, your buddy, worrying about them constantly. Thank you. I appreciate it. A lot of people ask me, why do you serve? Why did you serve? When I first decided to join the Army, I'll be honest with you. I needed money for college. All right, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh man, I was patriotic. Apple pie, the American flag. No, I needed money. All right, that's just the bottom line. But as I served, I learned more and more why it was I was serving. I was serving because I had a love for the guy to the right and to the left of me, okay? I learned that even more when I went to Iraq. In 2006, I deployed to Iraq. I was on what's called a MIT team. It's a military transition team. In the military, we use acronyms for everything. So MITT, Military Transition Team, all right? We were an 11-man team. We were basically brought from units across the country, brought together at Fort Hood, Texas, and we trained together. The team that I was on, I didn't even train with the whole time that I was in Fort Hood. The day before we actually deployed, after our training was done, they said, Stuart, you're not on the team we had designated for you. You're now on this team. So I had to basically befriend and become brothers with a whole new group of guys. When we deployed, it was as if, it was just seamless. No problem. That's what the military will do, okay? It will help you learn how to be flexible, quick, very quickly. But once we got to Iraq, my biggest fear was the fear of the unknown, all right? There's probably a lot of you, especially those seniors, right now, there's that fear of the unknown. You don't know, what's in store for you next. All of a sudden, man, you're going to have to grow up quick, right? Mama and daddy, they're going to tell you, son, sweetheart, out the door, right? You got to make it on your own. Or you're going to go to college. You don't know what to expect. You've never been to college, right? Just like me, I'd never been to war. So now it was time to basically take all the training that I had been given, right, and apply that to real life, to war, to combat. First day we got into Fallujah, we got to our firm base. Like I said, 11-man team. We were sent to train the Iraqi army, all right? So we get to our firm base, and lo and behold, the insurgents, they knew we were there. They knew that we were transitioning with the other team that was leaving. So just to welcome us, just to let us know that they knew we were there, they decided to drop a couple mortars in on our site, right? So boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, hey, it's the real deal, man. All right? You get into it, the fear, it's still there, but it starts to subside just a little bit. You're not complacent. You're just more cognizant of it, right? You're cognizant of the dangers. The firm base we lived on was about 200 meters by 200 meters. Small. We lived in blown-out Iraqi homes that had been blown out during the Battle of Fallujah, where the Marines had gone in and taken over Fallujah. Still plenty of insurgent activity. In November, right before Thanksgiving, we hit our first IED. They told us, not if, but when you hit your IED. At that point, again, it's the real deal. I watched my buddy in the front vehicle. I was driving one vehicle. My buddies were in the other vehicle, and I saw it explode, basically, just the front right tire. Thank God no one in that IED incident was injured. I'd say about maybe a month later, we're out on a mission. We identify an IED. We have to call in the Iraqi army, teach them how to cordon the IED. That's basically surround it, put a perimeter around it, okay? They end up doing that. My buddy, Michael Mundell, he gets hit by a sniper. Hits him in his side. He has a side plate here. It basically goes through his radio and lodges in his side plate. Thank God for that. He's safe. 2 weeks later, we're out on a mission. Our mission that morning on January 5th of 2007 was to cordon and search a neighborhood. We basically block off an entire section of a neighborhood. We go in and we knock on doors. We talk to individuals. We're looking for caches of weapons. The mission ends at about noonish, 12:30, 1 o'clock, somewhere around there. We have tanks that set up the block on the north and on the south. The tanks on the north decide to take that route. The route name is Kathy. I'll never forget the name of that route. As they're traveling down Kathy, they hit one IED. Doesn't mess the tank up. Second IED, it hits, causes fire. Crew gets out. We're called in to do crowd control. As we move out, prior to us moving out, we're back on our firm base. Major Mike Mundell, the guy that's leading our team, he looks at me and he says, "Jonathan, we've got to go." It's like, "Roger that, sir." So we get in our Humvees, right? 2 American Humvees, 2 Iraqi Humvees. Iraqi Humvee on the front, 2 American Humvees in the middle, an Iraqi Humvee in the back. As we're moving down, we hit Route Kathy, and we're looking south. As I look at the street, I'm in the gun position. I'm actually the gunner inside of the Humvee. I scan to my left. I see there's nothing on the streets. I call out, the streets are dead. The streets are dead. We make our turn onto Route Kathy. As we start moving, boom! IED blows me out about 25 meters to the rear. When I wake up, I have no clue where I'm at. None whatsoever. My buddy, Major Mike Mundell, at that point, is deceased. On impact, he was killed. It was a controlled death IED. Basically, someone was watching us come through. They had a marker on the road. They saw us go over it. They hit the trigger. They killed a husband, a father of 4. Why do I tell you all this? Because if I don't, his death is in vain. It's a memory in my head. You all need to understand the cost of freedom. The cost of what our forefathers paid in blood to allow us to assemble today. All right? And honor these women, brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, aunts, uncles. I'm here so I can honor my brother in arms, Major Mike Mundell. There's many other stories, tons of other stories besides mine. I'm just one of many. I'm grateful to a nation that honors its veterans. Take my story, tell it to your friends that haven't heard. Tell them of the cost. When you see a guy, I wear this bracelet in honor of him. When you see these gentlemen, like Mr. Qualls here, wearing their caps, stop, thank them. It doesn't take much. If you've got some time, listen to their story. They'll tell you. For me, I tell my story because it heals me. It heals me on the inside. I love my buddies. I love them. A year ago, we got to go, and we honored my buddy by naming a training center in Fort Campbell, Kentucky after him. I got to link up with 5 of my team members there. And we got to honor my friend during that time. Take the time during this holiday tomorrow, Memorial Day. Take the time to remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. I've been called a hero, and it's very uncomfortable for me to hear those words, because the heroes are those that did not get to make it back to their families, in my eyes. All right? It's not that I push back what it is that someone is saying to me. It's just that I want you to understand that when you hold your buddy's lifeless body in your hand, and you know at the end of the day that you're going to go home to your family and he's not, it's tough to put yourself in the same category. It's just tough. You don't have to understand it. Just hear it. Just listen. That's all. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you. I hope and I pray that you will take this with you through your life's journey, to take the time to stop, speak to our veterans, understand what it is that they did, to allow us the freedoms that we have today. Thank you so much. God bless you.
A big thanks to Major Stewart. And at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the Florence High School Big Blue Marching Band under the direction of Mr. Terry Onby.
Fanfare for a New Generation is an original fanfare for band by Dennis Evelyn. The high-energy fanfare creates an energy with rhythmic horn lines and expert percussion writing. It propels us toward the future. This song is dedicated to those who serve daily to defend our freedom. We hope that you enjoy Fanfare for a New Generation.
An original piece by Carl Straumann, Cumberland Cross takes us on a musical journey through Americana. The opening section is a hymn-style setting reminiscent of the American folk tune Shenandoah, while the second section is a lively dance in the style of Aaron Copland's Rodeo.
Marches of America by David Schaefer takes us back to the days of elementary school music classes and PTO productions. Songs included in this medley are This Is My Country, America, This Land Is Your Land, Caissons Go Rolling Along, and the Marines Hymn.
A big thank you to the Florence Falcons Big Blue Marching Band. At this time, I'd like to recognize the members of the Florence High School senior class that will be joining the Armed Forces after graduation. Please stand when I call your name. Jacob Graham, United States Marine Corps. Christopher Lee Murphy, United States Army.